All right. So for math this week for our on-level students, we are starting geometry. And geometry is such a fun unit because it's going to allow us to explore shapes and tangrams and fractions and all sorts of really cool ways that we can manipulate objects that we see in our everyday world. In terms of the additional resources, there are a ton. Um, out there for you. We tried to compile them and sort them into some easier broken down days for you here. So today we're going to focus on what is a polygon, and there is a BrainPop Junior video on that. But basically a polygon is any shape that is closed, has no curves in it, and is a two-dimensional shape, which means that it is flat. What I would like to do later is go through, I'm going to try to post a lesson tutorial. I'm looking over at my resources that I brought with me. I brought some shapes and brought some things like that, but I wanted to get this video up pretty quick because I'm a little bit behind today. So maybe for tomorrow's lesson, I'll actually be able to do kind of a all-encompassing activity. But because it is a review, we are going to extend the vocabulary a little bit. And so we're going to use words like polygons. We're going to use words like quadrilaterals and attributes of shapes. And an attribute of a shape is going to be what we use to classify it as that shape. So what makes a circle versus a square? So we can look at things like the sides, we can look at things like the corners or the angles or the vertices, which are the points in the corners. So we can look at all of these different things to help us classify our shapes. Most of you guys should be pretty familiar with the basic shapes of 2D, and which we also call plane figures or plane shapes. So those are going to be your flat shapes. So your squares, triangles, rectangles, hexagons, pentagons, kites, diamonds. This is where we'd love to have that discussion where everybody's just shouting out all those different shapes that they know. So see how many you can come up with for that. There is going to also be a BrainPop Junior video on plane shapes. So there are two videos on BrainPop on shapes. One that talks, I would probably actually start with this plane shapes video and then go into the polygons because that's going to use a little bit more advanced vocabulary, but they're both BrainPop Junior, so they're both going to be great. I also added some, because this was something that I heard a lot from, was just more content-based sheets versus activity ideas. So here are some charts you can cut out and use to study with. There are color and match the shapes. Is it a polygon or is it not a polygon? There's cut and paste. There's just tons of here's perimeters if you want a little bit more advanced. We're not going to spend time talking about perimeter and area this year, but there are some there's angles and polygons, and then kind of it will go into some further things there. This is a free account, so you would just download the set. You do need to sign up. Okay, sorry, got confused there for a second because it says if you download the set, then it asks you to become a member and pay for it, but these are free. So you can just click on the actual sheet and it will give you the sheet and an answer key. So give you some extra additional resources that you can use or not use. I'm not going to link those into Seesaw. Those will just be on that additional resources page. So for today's activity, I'm sorry, I have so many tabs open right now. I selected F and A. So we're going to be looking at 2D shapes and their attributes, and we're going to have a couple of Nearpod codes that are also in there as well. So if you go back to that additional resource page, here's a Nearpod code that would be great for today that you could use, and it's going to walk you through some of those shape attributes and things like that. And then we're going to be looking for a creative way to share what we already know about shapes. So we're going to create a monster out of cut out shapes. Don't show your partner and only tell them the steps to make it and see if they get it accurate. And this will actually tie in great with our how-to writing that we're going to be doing tomorrow. But the activity that I chose as the basic starting point would be to be the teacher. So where you're going to create a poster or chart to teach students how to identify if a shape is a triangle, a quadrilateral, a pentagon, or a hexagon, and then explain it to a partner or explain it on Seesaw. This can be a digital poster, so you could use PicCollage as a great app to do for that. You could just use Seesaw. Seesaw has that new feature of having where you add shapes and things like that. So that would be perfect if we just go to Seesaw real quick. And I'm going to show you a quick, if it loads, there we go, add. And if we go to the drawing tool, and remember over here, if we go to that 3 menu, there are those shapes. So you could put a shape on there and then add a text box and say, this is a, and then put their attributes. You can make a chart where you, one of the things that I do when I'm making my charts on here is actually use this line here, and then you can twist it to help you organize your information if you want to do a chart. So you could kind of put it like that and then put the text box there and then maybe put a third one over here and put how many sides, angles, however you want to do that. This is designed to be more open-ended to how far you're willing to take it, both as a student and as a parent. So for those of you that feel like sometimes these activities are too much, make it simple. It says, how do you identify a triangle, quadrilateral, pentagon, or hexagon? There's 4 shapes there. Keep it simple. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, see what other shapes you can come up with and talk about all of the attributes in each. If you want to have a more creative break, do this, be the teacher, and then also complete the shape monster. So with that shape monster, what I would do, and I'm sorry I meant to make one this morning, but time ran out, so maybe I'll try to make mine later and share with you guys. But what would be a really good idea is if you leave a video or an audio comment and you leave the screen blank and say, okay, I'm going to teach you how to make my shape monster, and then describe the shapes in steps. So say, first you're going to cut out a circle, and this is going to be your monster's head. Next, you're going to cut out a triangle, and this is going to be the monster's body. If you want to be specific, you could even look up different shapes such as trapezoids or parallelograms or rhombus, or different shapes that maybe provide a little bit of a challenge for that vocabulary. And then at the end of your video, you could hold up and show what your monster looks like and see if you want to tag somebody in it, and then see if they get that monster to match yours. There's all sorts of different ways to do this. I'm working on a bit of a time crunch here, so I'm trying to throw out the ideas for you. I know it can be a lot, but again, take these as simple as you want to make them as complex as you want to make them. I'm going to try to stick to 1 activity per each in Seesaw, and if you want to use those activities instead of these choice board activities, that's fine too. We are more than likely not going to be pulling specific grades from the choice boards. However, we will be looking to see that they are complete. We're still waiting on some feedback on what our grades need to look like and what we want to do consistently across the grade level versus consistently as a school, as a district. There's all these different moving parts, so we're trying to get that feedback to you back as soon as we can. But if there's anything that you need specifically, or you want a more creative idea, I will try to post that. I will try to do my own shape monster video where I will walk you through a series of steps, and then I'll show you that. It'll probably be by our creative break time, which would be, I think I said, yes, 11 o'clock. So I could hopefully have that one up at 11 o'clock, and that would give you some time to work on some iReady. That would give you some time to complete activity F, if that's what you want to do with where you be the teacher, and you explain it to your partner. I'll see if there's an activity template on Seesaw that we can use for that. So in the meantime, have fun exploring shapes. There are hundreds and hundreds of activities that we can do with shapes. If you want to get creative and you want to go on a shape hunt, or you want to take pictures of different shapes you see around your house, making a pic collage, making something that you can share, making a poster, going through a magazine, there's so many ideas out there. The main goal for today is to just explore shapes, explore their attributes, and see how you can classify them as best as you can. So I will try to narrow down the selections to one that goes along with this, and then for our creative break, I will post the video that goes along with the Shape Monster video. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, check those additional resources out, and check the activities tab if you're looking for something extra to do. And just continue doing what you're doing. You're doing awesome. Thanks.